Hey, hey guys, Master Beetle here, and I thought it's finally time that I gave y'all my finished Deletor deck profile with the cards, some commons and rares from EBO7. Deletors actually become a playably meta viable competitive deck in this format, just cause like in a force heavy format. If we were in like a protect heavy format, Deletors wouldn't be doing as well as like they are right now in my testing, and I did go undefeated at my Friday best of one locals. Decided to take Deletors because Deletors generally do well in a best of one format because of their inherent mechanic. So yeah, let's get on to the deck profile. Obviously, you're going to play Lucci as your starter because, you know, I ain't trying to front. I'm going to show you upright that I'm going to smack your ass with Deletors. So, yeah, you're going to use Lucci. And for the trigger lineup, I did a lot of playtesting over these past 2 weeks with the Deletors. And well, there's basically 4 of every card in the deck except for like the trigger lineup, but that is because of the way this deck is set up. You run everything as a staple 4 of, except when it comes to your PGs. Now I'm actually running 9 critical, 3 draw, and 4 heal. The draw because Deletors still need that draw. You can't really go 12 crit. You don't have enough. You don't sustain enough hand using 12 crit, so the draws are still nice. And because there's really no space in the grade 1 lineup. So yeah, that's why we run 3 draw and 9 crit, and it worked out. That was like the last change I made to the deck, and it's smooth now, real smooth. Let's go on to the grade 1s. You're going to need obviously a staple 4 of Drown. He's your counter charge engine. He goes into soul, feeding your soul skills, and he binds. And this deck generally binds more than most Link Joker builds nowadays. So yeah, I run that as a staple 4 of. And another card that I think is just a staple in any Deletor deck is 4 of Opener of Dark Gates. Now, you run, I know like Deletors usually use a lot of soul, but you need Opener of Dark Gates just to, like, you need her a turn 2 or like your first grade 3 ride, just so like you could create a board presence and rush your opponent down. That's what like Deletors need to do. Like, you delete your opponent's Vanguard as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if they're grade 2 or not. As long as you can delete their Vanguard and guarantee that you'll be able to do it next turn, or if they damage deny you, perfect, you could still push. So that's why I believe she's a staple 4 of in this deck. And I run another staple 4 of in the new build of Deletors is 4 of Sharpened Loop of Disponsi Amnilam. Long ass name, but reason you run this card as a staple 4 of is her ability of, at the end of the battle, I boosted my Vanguard. If my opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 and they drop 2 or more cards that were retired at the end of that battle, you sack her off to draw 2 cards. Now, I know you're wondering like, oh, but they'll just always PG your Vanguard or no guard your Vanguard so that you won't get her skill off. Well, we have a grade 2 in the deck now that EBO7 dropped that will make them drop. And this is really good on given turns. And it allows you to facilitate to be able to do given twice if you do have that combo available to you. And then for the final grade 1, I run one of the new grade 1 PG. You run one of the new grade 1 PG because everything else in this deck is ran at 4. And why would you run a Tech 1 of any other card in your deck besides a PG just for straight consistency? Now you have the consistency of 4 PGs, 9 and running everything else at a 4 of. I wouldn't want to take any one of these out, any one of these out, any one of these out. All these need to be max 4 of because you need them to create your combo plays. So yeah, a PG just like became the most consistent option. On to the grade 2s. The guy that needs no introduction, Given. He's the deck, he's your win condition, he's everything. If you can get at least one of them, he what starts your combo. If you can get one of them, you can still do Given combo. If you can get the other cards like Loop and the other grade 2 I'm about to show you, your combo just becomes infinitely better. So yeah, if you don't know what Given does, at the end of the battle he attacked. If my opponent's Vanguard is deleted, discard a total of 6 from field and from in total from field and from hand to restand my Vanguard, and he loses 1 drive check. So yeah, I run him at 4 of. People used to run him at 2, 3, or like not even run him at all in your deleter builds. But now that we do have the cards from EBO7, he's a max. He's your win condition. You need to close out the game as soon as possible. And with him, you're able to close out games by turn 2 grade 3 ride. So it's really good, really insane, and you need him because I like dropping him down early game if I know I have access to another one, because people, they automatically see given and they're like, oh my god, it's a given, I need to retire that, or it's a given, I need to attack that. And I'm just like, I just used it as early game aggression and you're attacking it while I have another one in hand. So yeah, that's why you need to run him at max copy 4 of. And another one, new card from the new set that you run at max copy 4 of is Binodile Dragon. Now, Binodile Dragon makes this deck. What Binodile Dragon does is his rearguard skill Act. He has 2 skills. Soul Blast 1, retire him. You get to draw a card. This lets you cycle through your deck to get into your pieces, your givens, your loops, anything else you might need for your delete turn or your kill turn in general. His second skill, which combos with loop, is when it's retired for anything. So another good thing about his card is he enables himself because he retires himself. Whenever this card is retired on my turn, no matter what the cost, which means it can even be retired off of Given's cost, Counterblast 1, and when my Vanguard attacks, my opponent must drop 2 cards to guard if they would wish to guard my Vanguard's attack. And that's static. That means every time my Vanguard attacks, they have to drop 2 cards at least, which makes this card really good comboing with Given and comboing with Loop. So yeah, run 4 Binodile just because you do it for the same reason you run 4 Given. You want to see it. And then for our final grade 2, I run 4 of a card people are actually not even running anymore, at least in the new Messiah build, 4 Geely. Now, you run 4 Geely because he's your optimal grade 2 ride target, and he's what pops off your grade 2 rush turn. If you can get a Geely and an opener of Dark Gates to create at least 1 more column, if not 3 attacks in that turn, it's really good. You attack with Geely first. They either have to force drop a 20k if they're not on grade 1 to try and make it a no pass, or if I have a booster, which I normally always have a booster, and then they have at least 1 other, if not 2 other attacks to deal with. So that's why I like Geely. I still run him at 4. Yes, this is a soul heavy deck, but there is soul management. You do manage your soul. And half of the stuff for your soul are on hits, and they don't want all your on hits to hit. So sometimes I just have all the soul for my skills. So yeah, I run 4 Geely. I don't run the new grade 2, that's CB1 when it attacks a Vanguard, bind something, because again, this deck is very counterblast heavy with Binodile Dragon, with your delete cards, with your Vanguard deleters. So you can't really run that. Even though it does fuel soul, you only have 1 conditional countercharge engine, and you basically don't have any countercharge for the deck. So that's why you can't run that. And I don't run Vect for the same reason. Even though you won't always get Vect off, this is just better because it works on Vanguard and Rearguard, and I either get to draw a card or bind my opponent's Rearguard, which is very key. And which is also very cool is when you call him to Rearguard, he gets +4. So put him in front of an 8k, that's a 22k column, which is very excellent. So yeah, that's it for the grade 2s. On to the final grade 3s. You already know it's a deleter deck. You're going to run 4 of Docking Deleter Greyon, and you're going to run 4 of Waving Deleter Gradle. Now, obviously, you want to ride Greyon first. He's your main grade 3 ride target until you hit 2nd grade 3 ride, because obviously if you ride that first, he won't do anything. But if I do end up riding this first, if I can make it possible, I'm just going to try and rush my opponent down until I do get the opportunity to delete, and then it'll just become harder for them to guard. So yeah, Greyon's skill is CB2 to delete my opponent's Vanguard, and then his on-hit is Soul Blast 1, bind a Rearguard, which is really key. Bind it face down, mind you. Link Joker is face down binding, and then waving is CB1, Soul Blast 1, bind my opponent's rear guard, and if I rode on top of a grade 3, I get to delete my opponent's Vanguard, and he gains a crit. So obviously this card is he's your finisher. He's your killer of the deck. You don't necessarily need him, but he is nice when your opponent is at 4 damage. Because like I said, as long as you're able to delete your opponent's Vanguard, you're going to be winning the game. So the combo that I was talking about, which makes this deck good and which makes this deck scary, especially in a best of 1 format, is, alright, so this is what the combo is. Let's say you ride on top of a grade 3, delete their Vanguard, now you're having a crit. Obviously, you're going to want to have at least 1 force marker on the Vanguard, and then you could put another force marker on a rear guard since this is second grade 3 ride. So, do that. Call a Bino Dial. And you want to have at least 1 given for this, and this isn't necessary, but it is nice to have. You want to have 1 loop behind your Vanguard. So obviously, you're going to activate Bino Dial Dragon skill, retire it, draw a card, and now you get the CB1 for the static effect of they have to drop 2 for your Vanguard's attack. Now if you are on Greydol, this combo only requires 2 counterblast, but if you are on Greyon, this combo will require 3 counterblast, or it will still require 2 counterblast. Granted that you don't have any other face up and 1 of these. So yeah. That's the combo, and then obviously this is your push turn, so it doesn't really matter what else you call. You just want to have at least some semblance of a full board. And then you're going to attack with your Vanguard first, boosted. They're at 4, so they're not going to guard this. This is the biggest attack you're going to have this turn. So they're going to PG this and drop another card because of Bino Dial. And your drive check, it really doesn't matter what it is. So now you have 3 cards in hand. Loop skill, you're going to retire it, and you get to draw yourself 2 more cards, which is perfect. And then you attack with this, doesn't matter if this hits or not, and then you attack with this, and now you can activate given skill. You can retire 4 from board, and retire 2 from hand, and then you restand your Vanguard. Now it's going to be swinging for 23, and they still have to drop. So usually my opponent will be dead by this point, if not put in a heavily position where they've used up most of their resources where they have to win the game next turn. So yeah, that's the full combo. There is another combo you can do, whether you basically do the same thing, except it requires a lot more cards. So basically, it's the same combo. You sacrifice Bino Dial Dragon to give your Vanguard the Battle Door effect. But this combo is 2 givens. Now this will require more cards in your hand, but loop helps to be able to activate 2 givens in 1 turn. So you're going to be swinging with your Vanguard 3 times, 1 with 2 drive checks, 1 with 1 drive check, and 1 with no drive check, but still have the critical. So yeah, that is the full combo. This is a little harder to get off, even though you do run a max copy of all your pieces. This initial combo is a little harder to get off just because it costs so many cards. But when you do get this off, your opponent should be dead. Like, definitely should be dead, because you're getting off 3 Vanguard attacks and 2 rearguard attacks. That's 5 attacks in 1 turn. No, 3 Vanguard, yeah, that's 5 attacks in 1 turn. So I don't understand how your opponent would not be dead with that, especially since your Vanguard will have the critical. But if they're not, you will most likely die the next turn, because this is an all-in play. You should have no more resources after you do this. But yeah, guys, that is the that is the Deletor deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Tell me what you think about it, your thoughts. And Deletors are relatively the cheapest Link Joker deck right now. I mean, not the cheapest. Brant is the cheapest, but they're the second cheapest Link Joker deck, and they are meta compatible with these new cards. So yeah, this is Master Beetle here, and I'm out. Peace.